దయచేసి కొంచెం ముందర రాగలిగితే కొంత కవర్ అవుతుంది. అక్కడ జనరేటర్స్ అప్పుడు ఉంది. జర పేషెంట్స్గా జర సహకరించండి. జర ముందుకు రండి ప్లీజ్.
I would like to only speak about some important national issues which have come up in the recent period. The Modi government at the center is moving very fast, trampling upon the rights of the states and violating the federal principle which is there in our constitution. The recent example is the proposed amendment to the All India Service Cadre rules. That is, IAS and IPS officers, bulk of whom are in the states, under the state government. The central government now is amending the rules whereby the center can unilaterally take officers from the state for central deputation. That is, if there are IAS and IPS cadres in Telangana, under the Telangana state government, the practice now is the center can request for some officers for deputation at the center with the concurrence of the state government, with the agreement of the state government. Now they want to change the rules that without the concurrence of the state government, IAS and IPS cadre officers can be taken by the center for deputation. This is a very dangerous move because it means that officers under the state government will no longer have any security and they will have to be always afraid of being summoned by the center, and the state government's control over its own officers will go. Already many non-BJP state governments have opposed this amendment. I am glad to see that the TRS government here has also, yesterday, the Chief Minister sent a letter opposing this amendment. Already West Bengal, Kerala, Chhattisgarh and other state governments have also opposed the move. This must be unitedly opposed by all the non-BJP state governments, because this will strike at the very principle of federalism and state governments will become helpless. They can be paralyzed by key officers being taken away by the central government. What this shows is that the Modi government is increasingly centralizing all powers and refusing to recognize the rights of states and the federal system here. This is affecting all aspects. For example, devolution of finances to the states. The central government has to give certain grants, financial grants to the states. The state governments are dependent on these financial grants. But now increasingly the central government is not giving those grants. I read today in the papers that again here the finance minister of Telangana has complained that the center is not giving the money which is due to the state. This is happening to all other states also. And as you know, GST, the compensation due to the states, they have not been giving in time. So generally there is an onslaught against the states. What I would like to say is, the TRS government here has in the past been supporting and compromising with the central government's wrong policies. It is good that now they have started taking some stand of opposition to such central government policies. And I hope that they will remain firm and consistent in such opposition. And it is necessary for the KCR government to cooperate with all other non-BJP state governments so that the rights of the states, including Telangana, is protected. But this requires a joint effort by all the state governments. This is the first point I would like to make. The second is, as you know, there are going to be assembly elections in 5 states from February. Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Punjab, Manipur and Goa. Our party, as you know, recently had a Central Committee meeting in Hyderabad just 10 days ago. And we have discussed our election tactics in these 5 states. And we have decided that we will work to defeat the BJP in all these states. That is our priority. And in Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand and Punjab, our party, given our limited strength, will fight only a limited number of seats along with other left parties and support those parties which can defeat the BJP, like the Samajwadi Party in Uttar Pradesh. So we are fighting only a limited number of seats along with other left parties, and the main party or force which can put up a fight and defeat the BJP in these states, we shall try to extend our support to them. This is the second point I'd like to make. And finally, we'll be having the union budget very soon, on the 1st of February. All of us know, though the government refuses to accept the reality, that the country is having a serious economic crisis. Even before the pandemic, there was an economic slowdown. And now, in the year 2020 and 2021, the effects of the pandemic, lockdowns, and the suffering the people have had, all of us know about it. But the real issue is the economy cannot revive unless demand grows. Demand means unless there is demand, there will be no production and investment. But the purchasing power of the people is at its lowest today. On top of that, now you have inflation. So, we have been telling the government in the last 1.5 years that you should put money into the hands of the people, because people have no incomes, they have no jobs, they have lost their jobs and there is no employment, and there is distress both in the rural and urban areas. So the main opposition parties had jointly demanded that at least provide rupees 7,500 rupees a month as a cash support or subsidy to all families except those who are income tax payers. But this government refused to do that. So in this budget, again, only if people have some money in their hands, purchasing power, can they buy goods, demand will increase, and then investment and production will grow. But the government is not taking steps to transfer money into the hands of the people. They have to spend more money, public expenditure, on health, education, in helping to revive agricultural production, etc. But instead of increasing public expenditure, the government only is thinking of how to give concessions to corporates and big business. They've already reduced taxes for the corporates earlier. That money which is going into the hands of the rich people, that does not increase consumption. You see, in the economy, the rich people buy goods from outside. They only increase the import bill. Only if the common people have more money in their hands. So in this budget, our demand is there must be a big increase in public expenditure and investment, particularly in areas after the pandemic. In public health, education system has suffered a lot in public education system, and in infrastructure development and agriculture, so that employment can also be generated. The government should not, in the name of fiscal discipline, curtail expenditure and only give concessions to the corporates and big business, so that they say in the name of tax concessions, they will increase investment and production. On the other hand, for meeting this increased public expenditure, which is necessary in the budget, they must increase the tax on the corporates and the richer sections. So this is the path they should take. Otherwise, the country and the people will continue to suffer, and we will not see any recovery from the COVID period that we have undergone. And despite all the claims of the government, we are seeing there is no real recovery of growth in the economy. So in this budget, they must bring measures which will help people increase their consumption. For that, they have to see that money or resources reach people, transfer of resources is required. This is all I have to say. Sir? I just said now that till recently we found that the TRS, their MPs in Parliament, were generally supporting all the Modi government's policies. But there has been some change in the recent period. Uh, the TRS has been coming out against the BJP government and many of its political positions of the BJP. We want them to take, as I said, they should continue to take a firm and consistent position against the BJP. Huh? Five states. I told you, our party's line is to work to ensure the defeat of the BJP in these 5 states. That is why, taking into account our strength, which is limited in these states, we are not going to fight a large number of seats and divide the opposition vote. We are going to fight only a limited number of seats and extend support to those parties or forces who can effectively fight and defeat BJP. And in Uttar Pradesh, situation is becoming clear that the Samajwadi Party is the main force which is now taking on the BJP. So each state, according to the situation there, we will work out our tactics to see that BJP is isolated and defeated. We are talking about state elections now. As I said, in Uttar Pradesh, it is not the Congress which is the main force fighting BJP, it is the Samajwadi Party. In Uttarakhand, yes, Congress is the main opposition. So in each state, the situation is different. Our effort is not to support any party blindly, which is the party which is capable of fighting the BJP in these states. Accordingly, we will take our stand. Sorry?
Would you like to coordinate with TRS?
No. Our position is clear. I think the political resolution adopted in the conference has been released. As far as the TRS government is concerned, any policy which is harmful for Telangana or not serving the interests of the people of Telangana, we will oppose. We have been opposing also. On that there will be no compromise. If the TRS takes any position firmly against BJP, that is welcome. We will support that. But as far as government's policies are concerned, we will decide on the basis of the merits of that policy. We will not blindly support the TRS government if those policies are not helpful for Telangana and its people. That's one. Second, we are not equating the TRS and the BJP. We may have our opposition to the TRS government on many policy issues, but we don't treat the TRS and the BJP equally. We think the BJP is dangerous for Telangana. They are trying to advance and grow in Telangana. So our main effort will be to fight and stop the BJP. Sorry? See, this is I think this was a joint statement and stand 16 opposition parties had taken. Not now. We first took the stand in 2020 September, when the first COVID wave had happened, that you have to provide a monthly subsidy or help of 7,500 to all families in India except the income tax payers. That is mostly people who are poorer sections. Many countries in the world, including the United States of America, the big capitalist countries, they have provided such cash subsidies to the people. Two types. One, support during the COVID time. Second, for unemployed, they gave a special allowance or grant. This was done by the United Kingdom, many European countries. India has the lowest fiscal stimulus among the G20 countries. Amount of money spent to provide relief to different sections of people, India is one of the lowest. Only not even 2% of the GDP. So our point is to revive the economy. Today, what is the problem? People are not having any money to buy things in the market. So even the medium and small scale industries, why are they suffering? Because there is no demand for their goods. So it is necessary to increase the purchasing power of the people. We had suggested during the COVID period, provide this subsidy. The government refused. They only given some increased free rations, as you know. And initially they gave 500 rupees for that women in the three installments, 500 rupees. Beyond that, they didn't give anything. So our demand has been, this is, unfortunately, they have not accepted. Now, even now, since COVID is there, we are saying in the budget you give some provision for some cash transfer. Sorry? Yes, surveys are there. Various surveys are there. But you will see in this election, these 5 elections, Uttar Pradesh is the biggest state, as you know. The BJP has a huge majority in that state. Nearly more than 2/3 majority in the assembly now. But all the reports show that the BJP is losing ground very fast in Uttar Pradesh. And that will indicate to you what is the real standing of Mr. Modi and the BJP. Right. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
What do you have party strengthen the party? What
Medicines.
What is your medicine to develop the party?
Some medicine is being discussed here, and in our All India Party Congress will be held in April. There we will discuss all the full steps necessary, not only for Telangana, for the All India level, how to strengthen and build the independent strength of the party. That's going to be the main agenda of our party Congress.
పాల్గొన్న పేరు చెప్పండి.
Karath sir, last one question.
Ah.
Is back Karath said broad front.
Who?
Prakash
Ah.
Third friend.
comment on that broad front. In Telugulo చెప్పండి.
Which one? Broad front?
Third friend. It means విశాల ఐక్య సంఘటన గురించి చెప్పారు.
No, we have not said any broad front now. We have not said. No. What he said was, we want the unity of all left democratic and secular forces to fight BJP. Yes, but how that unity has to be built, according to us, has to be done in each state, because there are different parties and many are regional parties. See? So unless you have some understanding at the state level, then only it will reflect at the All India level. Because, as you know, many strong anti-BJP parties, they are confined to one state. Samajwadi Party in UP, Rashtriya Janata Dal in Bihar, Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam in Tamil Nadu. So we are trying in each state to build that unity.
మిత్రులారా ధన్యవాదాలు. ప్రెస్ మీట్లో మా పార్టీ పాలిట్ ప్రకాష్ కరాత్ గారితో పాటు మా రాష్ట్ర కార్యదర్శి వర్గ సభ్యులు నంద్యాల నరసింహారెడ్డి గారు, అట్లాగే జాన్ వెస్లీ గారు రాష్ట్ర కార్యదర్శి వర్గ సభ్యులు, మరో రాష్ట్ర కార్యదర్శి వర్గ సభ్యులు జ్యోతి గారు, రంగారెడ్డి జిల్లా సెక్రటరియట్ సభ్యులు సామ్యుయల్ గారు, అట్లాగే జగదీష్ గారు, కిషన్ స్థానిక ఇంజాల్ కమిటీ. థ్యాంక్ యూ ఫ్రెండ్స్.
భౌతిక దూరాన్ని పాటించవలసిందిగా కోరుతున్నాం. మన వనపర్తి పట్టణంలో 100 పడకల మాతా శిశు ఆరోగ్య కేంద్ర నూతన భవనాన్ని ప్రారంభించుకోవడానికి మనం సంసిద్ధంగా ఉన్నాం. మరికొద్ది క్షణాల్లో భవన ప్రారంభోత్సవం జరుగుతుంది. ఇక్కడ ఉన్నటువంటి శిలాఫలకాలను కూడా ఆవిష్కరణ జరుగుతుంది. కాబట్టి దయచేసి భౌతిక దూరాన్ని పాటించండి, మాస్కులు ధరించండి. ఇది మన కోసం మనం ఏర్పాటు చేసుకున్నటువంటి ఆరోగ్య కేంద్రం. మరి ఆరోగ్య కేంద్రం యొక్క సేవలు ప్రతి ఒక్కరికి అందాల్సినటువంటి అవసరం ఎంతైనా ఉందనే విషయాన్ని మీ అందరికీ కూడా తెలియజేసుకుంటూ, ఆ సమాచారాన్ని ప్రతి ఒక్కరికి చేయవలసినటువంటి బాధ్యత కూడా మనపైనే ఉందనే విషయాన్ని మీ అందరికీ కూడా తెలియజేసుకుంటూ, సద్వినియోగం చేసుకుందాం మనం ఈ ఆరోగ్య కేంద్రాన్ని. మాతా శిశువుల యొక్క ఆరోగ్య సంరక్షణ కోసం మనం నిర్మించుకున్నటువంటి ఈ భవనాన్ని పెద్దలు గౌరవనీయులు మనం ఆహ్వానించుకున్నటువంటి నాటి కార్యక్రమ ముఖ్య అతిథి వర్యులు రాష్ట్ర ఆర్థిక